What's up? It's Yunny. Welcome to Yunny Demos. This is week 4, and the process is getting better. I think I'm not as scared to talk in front of the camera, to edit. They're very light edits, like very home movie type, which is what I love. Honestly, that's what I'm going for. And I look forward to it every week. So thank you for tuning in. Let's break it down. So this week it was a challenging week. I really got to the point of thinking like, why am I doing all this? This is really hard. And fell into this valley of despair, trying my best to claw my way out. I was getting to a situation that I've seen before, so let me show you. This is a piece I did before. It's a line drawing, and the text right here says, she realized she had been here before. So that's exactly where I was, and I had to look at this one every day to try to pull myself out. The smile, the world needs more joy. And I eventually got out. I had some help from Omar, my partner, and my best friend Phoebe. But it's good. It's good to go through the exercise and show you what is hard and to show you the realities of this. Like I am fully understanding that building a business is fucking hard. But there are ways to stay in your light, to build something that's very authentic to you. And I'm very cognizant of building something that honors art and does not limit creative direction, while also figuring out a way to be profitable. And that is two separate things. So thank you for being here. Let's get into the demo. So this week was a challenge of systems. If there was a theme to see, if there was a theme to summarize how I felt this week, juggling all the things, it was very much challenging, where I was trying to create systems of health, of nutrition. I didn't get a lot of time to create. But I got a lot of time to learn business concepts over the weekend when I didn't have any plans. This work week was very hefty and challenging, so in those moments, all I need to do is rest and recover in order to make it another day. So as a result, there's some things I can learn from that, and that is okay, and that's part of the process. Inviting in those losses as well as the wins. Other things I want to share today is the different concepts I learned when it comes to creating product market fit, incorporating loops of feedback, and it's really interesting to think about this as from an art lens. I'm still figuring out what works for me, and in the beginning stages of brainstorming products to make and my ideal market, really. So I'm going to be sharing that. I attended some talks for a knowledge business, so I'll share that. And I did some outreach. I sent an email to some local organizers to ask if they wanted to collaborate for a workshop locally in terms of me offering some sort of art therapy classes. Breakthroughs happen when some new concepts. So let's get into it. I wrote my first essay, I guess, while I wrote my first essay on the typewriter, and it was a very interesting experience where I was so focused and really getting into the rhythm of it. I still have difficulty going with two hands, but it really was nice to have a stream of consciousness come out. So I was thinking a lot about craft and what it means to be alone in relation to that. Who makes progress, and who continues to grow. So I can read an excerpt of this. So let's go and starting this paragraph. Progress is made by people who give a shit. Sometimes giving a shit means disagreeing with a loved one. Sometimes giving shit means disagreeing with a loved one or having the guts to say what's on everyone's mind. You may be thinking that the risk is simply too high, the risk of embarrassment or falling into the waters too deep to see. What if you fail and you realize you're not as skilled as you thought? What then? It was hard for me to empathize with this perspective. I was fortunate to be weird well after college. Somehow I entered communities where my oddities, randomness, and incoherent creativity wasn't stifled. In fact, seen as an asset, an edge for connecting. The kids I worked with preferred me while my club mates called me innovative. That fear towards foolishness was further trampled. That's an error. I don't know what that was. What I mean is like further continued by a tech ethos of staying hungry and foolish. I learned that weirdness was what would advance my goals and pave opportunities for authentic encounters. As I age, I see more people giving up to the physics of adulthood. The workplaces teach obedience, fall out of line, and I will lay you off. Not one of us. No one dares to rebel the boys' club. What happens is everyone thinks like this. The workplace stops being a place where innovations thrive and becomes a tertiary school for people who obey the rules, suppress critical thinking, and slowly die inside. My prized mentor is a 55-year-old woman who has a loving marriage, independent kids, and a powerful position with a career that is still expanding. Her dad emphasizes, what you do not, at all costs, let your soul die. Her passion is intense. She cares about quality, and she is not done growing her craft. How can I be like that when I grow up? She taught me to collaborate with all 5 senses, to move around barriers, to push for progress, even if you have to stand alone. How do you find a community, support? Birds of a feather flock together. Right now, you need to focus on you. They will come. And when they come, it'll be because I gave a shit, not pretending to be liked, because I wasn't afraid to be weird. So, I guess I was really reflecting on my meetup with my mentor who's in town, and she encourages me to be more than what my job is. So other realizations this week is when I felt some anger, so I tried to transmute it into something positive. So this poem reads, sending loving kindness to my attackers. Healing is my blessing. May you suffer less and love more. May you understand your violence. May you seek help. May you find love again. I am healed. Are you? And when I was feeling self-consciousness about creating, doing things that were bigger than what I felt I was capable of. There are times where I'm very positive and I believe that I can fulfill these ideas that are in my head. And then there are times where I am a lot more vulnerable. So this is from that place of vulnerability. I hide behind peace and nobility while I suppress my desire for it all to burn. Table of contents. Ashes, phoenix, risen. Little did I know people relate to why the ashes were there in the first place. And this is a little thing. Omar came over and he was testing the typewriter. But the second part was what I wrote when I was really challenged this week. I realized this is a test. Proceed anyway. Do not fear the more elegant, advanced direction. You may need to rise to the occasion to make it, but that's the cost of progress. So, like, a lot of this led to me thinking, like, okay, is there something I need to update in my operating system? Am I making some assumptions? Am I believing the wrong thoughts? Am I believing the wrong story? So I did a lot of reading of this book. I think this book really encompasses the type of entrepreneur I want to be in the future, or what I want to emulate now. So this is a book by Sahil Navanjina, and he is famous for his work on Gumroad. He's really big in the tech scene on X, but this book really talks about how do you build a business that really helps people, but also fits the market and is very sustainable. So it's taught me a lot of things about ideal customer and looking for the pain points, the community versus your audience. Everything, you have to find your community and you have to find who you want to serve and what is their pain points. So being very clear about that and really talking to people allows you to have a good baseline for what you're building. And through that, you can start to share what you're learning. I like these 3 guiding principles that he expresses, where it says, show what you're working on. So basically work in public. So thank you for being here. This is me working in public. And teach what you're learning. So it's important to know that your experience is valid. And the triumphs and challenges that you have gone through, if you put it out there, it'll help someone who hasn't gone there yet or is seeking guidance to get through that. Like, you are on the other side of that. You know that lesson. So you have the knowledge to teach. It's just our self-consciousness gets in the way of being able to express that, when really the knowledge that we've accumulated, the battle scars that we've gained, can really help somebody who's going through it. So I love that principle. Another thing is like bringing new material. So bringing in new stuff that is unique to you and your life experience, you and your story, your skill set. So creating every day and having that cycle. So a big question I'm trying to understand right now is, like, what do I build? There's a lot of things I can build. What do I start with? And Sahil talks about this Venn diagram of what you want to do and what helps people, and what helps others. And those are people who are in your community. Maybe it's like you are really passionate about reading experiences. So you're on the Reddit for reading experiences. you're building for that community. You're part of it. You know the pain points because you've lived it. So this is a great way of guiding, like, what the hell do you focus on when there's like unlimited possibilities. I learned that I need to be better at this process. So if we think about it in steps, we got create, we have sharing. In order for you to go from create to share, you can go through the editing process, and then it's better if you curate it. And I realized that this is my weakness. I create pretty often, but the thing I have difficulty with is to gather it all into something that is refined, that is a larger story. Like, it's an example is like when you're if you're making a movie, storyboards is a way of stringing it all together and curating the story, all the artistry, all the action, all the plot lines, the characters, the style, bringing it all together into a cohesive storyboard. So that's something that I started doing last week, but having more constraints around that will help me step forward more often. Okay, so I think that's all I want to talk about in this book. I recommend it. It is a great starting point for people who are here for the long game. Let's see. What else do we have? Learning about the knowledge business. Okay, so this is a really interesting one. I was in a course or a talk about like what it's like to take your knowledge and make it into something useful and really helpful for people. And there's a lot of notes. It's really messy, but I'm going to break it down into this concept, which I'm going to go straight into the breakthroughs. This is really cool because I feel like this would really help anybody get through to that next stage. Like, for example, you're trying to go from A to Z, but you're like in the valley of despair, about to quit, and you're trying to get to Z again. Like, how do you get out of here? You need a breakthrough. You need to go through that wall, and you need to confront those fears and really claw your way out from the deepest part of you. So this event that I attended, it's called The Game Has Changed. It has Dean, I forgot his name, Dean something, and Tony Robbins. But basically, like, I fall into this trap all the time. When I'm trying to achieve a goal, I start with the strategy first, which is understanding, like, how do you do it? Like, planning and writing and all that stuff. And that's important too, but other things that are more important, like you would start with here and you go this way. Other things that are more important is your state. Your state is like your mental, your physical, and your emotional state. You have to be, you gotta be valuable, you gotta be in control, you gotta be in the state where you're ready to believe a better story. So this is interesting. The idea of a story. It's like what you believe in your head. What is the idea of, like, I can be an artist. I am capable of creating prolifically. I am capable of being a business owner and making it profitable and making it something that I live off of. So those are thought processes that need to be downloaded, and you gotta embody it through your state. When you embody it, you believe it. But the thing is, like, if you don't believe it, then how the heck are you gonna implement the strategy? So this whole idea of the keys to a breakthrough, you have to have all of these for it to work. Of course, you have to work hard and everything. But if you don't have a good story, then that shuts off your strategy. There's this quote that I loved. It was like, if you start with how, you get overwhelmed. Guilty. And then you get trapped in the tyranny of how. You spin your wheels. So how do we start in a better state where you can believe, where you are mentally clear, you're sharp, you're physically energized, you're emotionally open and willing to explore? So getting that first. So going back to our systems. And then second is like choosing the story that you need to believe in, believing that story. A quote that I loved is, divorce the story of your limitation. If you don't believe you can be fit, you can have all the strategy in the world, but you won't allow yourself to really employ it. You won't really leverage it as deeply as you want, because there's a part of you that believes that you can't be fit. You can't be that person. So that's a self-limiting belief. This is probably one of the biggest things that holds people back. Even if they have all the tools in the world, if they don't believe they can harness those tools, they won't grab for it. So that's part of the healing process. So divorce the story of your limitation and marry the truth of your higher being. A little more spiritual. It's cool if that's not your cup of tea. But really making sure you're not getting your own way is key to getting to the other side of this valley of despair. Cool. I think that's all that I wanted to share. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a great week. And let's finish it out. Thanks. Cool. We are at the end of the demo. Thank you for being here. I'm so thankful I get to do this and play and to be supported by people I love. So thank you for your feedback. Shout out to my brothers. Shout out to Chris, Cal. Shout out to Jess, Luna, who I called last week. A great source of inspiration, all of you. Shout out to Omar for listening to me rant and picking me up when I'm on the floor. And my parents for making me feel loved. So this is an ongoing process, and I hope to bring more value each time. So please comment and share where I can improve or what questions you have, so that this can continue to be a valuable exchange experience documentary of the process of building this thing. There will be things in the future that will free me up, unblock me from giving this undivided time. So please be patient with me as I go through that. I'm testing my own patience. But I believe that is it. So have a great week, and I'll see you next week.